Thank you, Michael Harrison. It's great. I think that the work that we're doing in the Annex can feed directly into policy. And equally, I'm keen that the work that I'm doing for DESNZ can feed back into the Annex. So I wanted to share some of that today. And this is thinking about a new way to look at evidence, a new way that we might want to adopt some of these ideas, maybe in the Annex. Something to discuss. First of all, quick acknowledgements. These are interim findings from ongoing work that's been done for Michael Harrison's department, DESNZ, and the SMETA implementation project. The framework that I'm going to present is a collaboration between DESNZ, AECOM, Loughborough University, and Working Research. The literature review was actually carried out by Dr. Max Eastwood while he was on secondment from Loughborough University to the department. An expert opinion here is provided by David Ross and myself. You may or may not agree with these findings, but I think at least I hope you'll find the framework very useful. Very quickly, SMETA is smart meter enabled thermal efficiency ratings. SMETA methods measure the in-use HTC of a dwelling while it's been occupied. They use smart meter data and weather data. They may use other sensors in the home. They may have a physical survey, and there's some algorithm that calculates the HTC. And this SMETA program has been supported by the department through the SMETA program, which started in 2018. So reliable in-use methods. It's got to be reliable, hasn't it? If we're going to have wide-scale use of these sort of methods, then it's got to give you a reliable result in real-life conditions. It's back to having confidence again, isn't it? And so we can think there's a load of factors. You can imagine all these different factors that are going to affect a measurement, going to stop it being reliable. And we've put these into 4 different categories. And these are listed the factors in each of the different categories. And I'm not going to read them all out, but these are all the things that, you know, the bloke in the pub who stands at the bar going, it'll never work. It'll never work because, this, you know, well, what about your high construction moisture? That's going to stop it from working, isn't it? So it's the idea is to look through each of these factors and see if we can either challenge the concept that that's going to stop it from working, or we can find a way to control the applications of the method to make sure that these things don't get in the way at the end of the day. So how do these factors affect the measurement? So each one of those factors could affect the measurement in different ways. A factor could change the in-use HTC value. The HTC might be different because of a factor if the building was operated in a different way. I'll give an example. Or a factor might affect the accuracy of the measurement. These are 2 distinctly different things, though, if you think about it. So a couple of examples. If you've got a thermally separated conservatory, this is what they look like. They're common in the UK. I don't know if they're common in your country, but this is a big heat loss thing you stick on the side of your house. They have doors that separate them from the rest of the house. If you open those doors and heat it, your HTC is massive. If you close those doors and don't heat it, your HTC is much smaller. So that changes the value. But measuring during very sunny weather wouldn't change the HTC value, but it would change the accuracy of doing the measurement. So first of all, we've defined those 2 different things. And then for each factor, you can say, well, does it really matter? Is it going to have a big impact or a small impact? Maybe, so we went through the literature. Maybe it's unknown. Maybe there's some speculation that it has a problem, but we actually can't see anything in the literature that identifies that it's known. Perhaps there's no impact. Perhaps we can say with some confidence that you don't need to worry about that, mate. Perhaps the impact is low, medium, or high, and we've tried to characterize these things. Perhaps things with a low impact you might just want to accept, for example. And then you sort of say, how good's the evidence? So let's rate the evidence. Is it speculative? People are just saying this matters, but we can't see any evidence of it. Is it weak? There's a small number of studies, maybe not peer-reviewed. Expert opinion is a little bit not sure. Or is it sufficient? There's enough studies, there's a robust field trial, an expert opinion sort of thinks, yeah, that's sufficient. That makes sense. So that's how we rank the evidence in this framework. And then you think, well, what are we going to do about it? If we've got something that has some impact and there's some evidence, are we going to accept it? It's not really going to matter. Let's not worry about that. Are we going to control the application of SMETA methods so that we can mitigate the effect of that factor? That might mean specifying, you can't use SMETA methods in this situation, or specifying, you must use sub-metering if there's something going on in the house that looks like this, or saying it's something that we're going to have to test in validation. So we develop some validation test cases, and then we can test the methods to show that they are robust to these factors. And in some cases, we might say, well, we need to carry out some further research so that we can set these controls, or we can even remove them. So actually, it doesn't matter. We were worrying about nothing. So that's kind of the framework. And I'm just going to flip through the results. I'm not going to argue through them all. There's a whole literature review behind this. I hope that we can put this in the public domain very soon. I think this has been recorded, so you can slow down the recording and look at them and disagree with them to your heart's content. And I'd be happy to discuss any of this further. And as I say, we're hoping to put this in the public domain very, very soon. But what I wanted to do was just summarize the recommended next steps that came from this exercise, because this might be things maybe the Annex can use or adapt some of this framework, and maybe some of these next steps are things that we can look at. So as a result of this exercise, big literature review, seeing what we knew, what we didn't know, the recommendations were to develop controls for the application of SMETA methods in low HTC dwellings until better evidence is available. So this might be flats with a very low exposed surface area, so very little heat loss, or high-performing houses. We're a bit unsure about the accuracy, so maybe we need some better evidence, and maybe we better be a bit careful until we've got that evidence. Where the efficiency of the heating system is not well characterized. If you've got a heat pump and you don't know if the COP is 1 or 4, well, you probably better heat meter that, hadn't you? Otherwise, we're not going to think it's a reliable HTC measurement. Where there's PV generating electricity, where self-consumption's not measured, we might have to do something about that. Where there's these conservatories and we don't know if the doors open and close, maybe we need to think about that. And then window opening. That's something maybe think about. Small amount of window opening probably doesn't matter. Interestingly, window opening is interesting, I think, because if someone lives with the window open 24/7 because they like that fresh air, then they better size their heat pump to the HTC that delivers, or they're always going to have a cold house, aren't they? So you might say window opening in some circumstances is, of course, it's not a problem. That's what you want to measure. In other circumstances, like does this building meet building regs, we might have to be a bit more careful about window opening. And then there's all this work on developing validation test cases, a range of different data sets from different buildings under different circumstances, where you can run those data through different SMETA methods, and you can say, does it match the benchmark HTC? Are these methods giving us an accurate result? If we can test them and they come out good, then that solves that problem. And then further research is needed, better understanding impact of low HTC dwellings on accuracy, determine the impact of unmetered PV. It might not matter actually so much, especially if the methods only use data from low sunny days. Identify applications where control for window opening would be needed. Identify optimal numbers of temperature sensors for different size houses might be interesting. I think that's as much as I'm going to say on that. I'll pass to Francis, but thank you very much.